Here are some comforting foods we ate yesterday. Let's get in the kitchen and let's cook. You gotta stand tall. Hello everybody and welcome back to another What We Ate for the Day. Or is it called What We Eat in a Day? Well, anyway, happy weekend. I hope you guys are having a great week. Today we are starting off with some fruit. It is one of the easiest and we love having fruit for summer. So I am here just chopping up the most wonderful reddest watermelon, the juiciest, most delicious for my husband Trey. And we also decided to cut up this pineapple. This is something that one of our sons chose as a fruit for the week. And normally we don't eat that acidic foods, but this was just a little bit of a treat. Really today, all we ate were just really some comfort foods here. We also love pineapple juices, so if you love pineapple juices, fresh pineapple juice is truly the best. This pineapple was so ripe and was so sweet and yet a little bit tart and a little bit sour. It was like the perfect balance. Grace also wanted me to cut her a mango, and the mangoes are also really ripe and delicious. Look how orangey yellow this mango was. Everyone had a great breakfast and it was such a refreshing treat first thing in the morning. So last night I had the kids soak some beans. This is just garbanzo beans or chickpeas if you call it. We also soaked some lentils. So here I just have some soaked chickpeas. I am going to make hummus out of it for a salad. So I am here just separating some of the chickpeas in a pot. I'm going to just add some of the water in here to boil and then just reserving some for something else next time. Now we love soaking beans, especially like lentils and chickpeas, because look at this, all of this gas bubbles. This is why it can contribute to a lot of your gassiness. So if you want to just not fart so much, then you should definitely soak, and then it also helps with digestion as well. So after rinsing my lentils here, I am going to just split up some of the lentils, put it in a pot with some water, and I'm just going to get that started in a boil. Now we always have bananas left over, not really left over, we just have a ton of bananas and we love making banana bread and also some smoothies with our bananas. So today I have tasked Mercy to make some banana bread for us. Now I'm sure you've seen plenty banana bread recipes, but I am going to write down ours just in case you decide you wanted to make some banana bread and you need a recipe. So I'll have the full recipe down in the description box for you for your convenience. I feel like Mercy has definitely grown in her cooking skills because she loves helping me out in the kitchen, and it's always just a pleasure having her in the kitchen. So today we are also making a spaghetti sauce. I am using some mushrooms and the lentils. I am making a Bolognese sauce, so I am just starting off with some onions, celery, and carrots, the very classic mirepoix. I'm just gonna start chopping this up like kind of finely, but roughly, but pretty small, so we don't get like big chunks of carrots and onions and celery in our sauce. While I'm getting everything else prepared, Mercy is just finishing up the banana bread, and she is measuring out the apple cider vinegar. We use, instead of baking powder, we like to use a combination of apple cider vinegar and baking soda in our baked goods or cakes, anything like that. So that is what we use for the rising agent. And then meanwhile she is finishing up that, I am just chopping up all of our mushrooms. This is, I believe it's a 16-ounce box of mushrooms. I'm going to try to chop it fine and then, kind of a rough chop just to resemble some meat. I'm also going to just add it to a pot with some salt and some oil, and I'm just going to cook that down slowly. Now, as you may know, mushrooms, they do have a lot of moisture and water. We want to just cook that out as much as possible. So after Mercy added a little bit too much cinnamon this time, she decided to start cleaning up after herself. We really encourage the kids and kind of teach them to clean as they go, just so that, once they're done cooking, everything is nice and clean, so there's not a whole ton to clean. Now we just brushed the banana bread tins, or just the loaf pans, with coconut oil, and then we are going to just put the batter into the loaf pans. You can make this in muffin form if you like, but we just decided to use loaf pans, and you can decorate the tops with whatever. We actually use some coconut shreds, some unsweetened coconut shreds, and also some pumpkin seeds. This really gives it an aromatic nuttiness to the bread and also some textures, of course, and I just let her decorate it however she wanted to. Now this banana bread is going to bake in the oven at 350 for about an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, something like that, just until it is done. All right, now once we have the banana bread baking in the oven, we are now starting on the Bolognese sauce. Into the same pot with the mushrooms, I have added the lentils and some seasonings. I have onion powder, some paprika, some oregano, and some Italian seasonings as well. And we also seasoned this with some salt. You want to season or salt this just by layers here, just so that way everything is nicely seasoned. And for some meatiness, I did add some Montreal seasoning and a little bit of fennel seeds. Now, I was really craving sort of the spaghetti sauce, and traditionally, when you use ground beef or just any kind of meat, you typically get a lot of the meat fats and the oils that come out, right? And it naturally just makes the sauce this rich and fatty meatiness to it. And so I found that adding a little bit more oil than, just like a tablespoon or so, really helps bring back that oily meatiness. You can see there I did add a little bit of red wine, and that is just to add some body and some flavor. It is so delicious with some red wine. Now you don't have to if you don't want to. You can definitely just omit that. And then I'm just going to add some cans of organic crushed tomatoes. We don't really use a lot of canned foods at all, but if you were going to make this much sauce, you're going to need a lot of tomatoes, which we don't have, and it's very expensive to buy. So I'm going to cover that and then cook it just until it is all ready. Next, I am making a salad for Trey. So this is just some broccoli that I am going to be roasting in the oven with. I'm going to add some roasted broccoli, which is tossed with some hemp oil, some salt, and some onion powder, and a touch of paprika just to give it a little bit of a smokiness. I am going to roast that at about 425 for, about 10-15 minutes, just until it is nice and roasted and crispy. Then I'm actually going to prepare dinner now. So I am going to go and wash up these big, huge sweet potatoes that I purchased from Whole Foods. We used a vegetable spray here, and then I'm just going to give it a good scrub and rub with my hands, and then I'm going to just rinse it off. For dinner, I plan to bake these sweet potatoes in the oven. I just sliced them very thinly like this, and I'm just going to layer them in our 9x13 baking dish. I planned on roasting these at a very low temperature until dinner time, just so that it is all done when dinner is ready. So I am layering it with some hemp oil here, some salt, and I'm just going to continue to repeat the process until all of the sweet potatoes I can fit are all done and gone. By layering it this way, you can make sure that all of the layers are seasoned, well seasoned on all of the layers, and then we're going to add some water. Now this is very experimental. I had a cup of water here with some ground cinnamon, and I'm just going to put that all into the pan. I'm going to roast it at 325 just until dinner is done. All right, on to hummus. As I mentioned before, this hummus is going to be for Trey's salad, and I like to make our hummus this way. It's very, very easy, and I use a hand blender. So in this 4-cup measuring cup, I have the cooked chickpeas that we made from scratch. I did want to make sure that the spaghetti sauce was well stirred. I don't want anything to burn on the bottom, so I turned around and did that really quick. So here I have the chickpeas. I seasoned it with some cumin, some paprika, salt, onion powder, some water, some hemp oil, and the juice of 1 lime. Then I'm just going to use the immersion blender or a hand blender here, and then just blend it up all the way until it is nice and smooth. Now I did reserve a little bit of the chickpeas just in case I added a little bit too much water, so I could add a little bit more of the chickpeas to make it thicker. And once it is blended, you just want to taste it for seasonings. If everything is nice and zesty and tasty, it is good to go. Now for the salad, you can use any greens you like. I added some romaine lettuce here, and then I'm also going to chop up some cherry tomatoes or some grape tomatoes. I added that alongside with some red onions and the roasted broccoli. These broccoli pieces came out perfect. I had to add a little bit of water just to make the sauce a little bit runnier so it is easier to toss the salad with. So then I added all of the hummus that I needed. I'm going to toss it. I'm going to layer some more sauce just to make sure all of the lettuce and the vegetables are nicely seasoned and sauced. And for some anti-inflammatory, I added some turmeric and black pepper, and then I am just going to toss this up, add a little bit more of the sauce, and we are good to go. I am going to bring this to Trey. Now let's check on the banana bread. Once it is done, the toothpick or chopstick comes out clean, and we are just going to take this out of the loaf pans and we're going to cool it down a little bit until it is ready for us to cut. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. It is a little bit browner than usual because of the cinnamon, the extra cinnamon, but it turned out delicious. Check that out. Of course, Mercy had the first slice because she was the one that made it. Checking on the pasta sauce, it was a little bit too salty, so I did add a little bit of agave syrup just to balance it out. Time for the pasta. This is the pasta that we use, Simple Truth Organic from Smith's, and all it is made of organic chickpea flour. We are going to just boil this up in a big pot. Make sure that you stir it very, very well because they do tend to stick. And then we are going to rinse it and to get rid of all of that chickpea water so it doesn't clump up. Once that is done, I just return the noodles in the same pot that we cooked it in. I'm going to ladle a little bit of the sauce on here, and then I do find that the chickpea pasta does soak up and kind of dry out after a while, so I like to add a little bit of water here. I added about half a cup of water to a cup of water and a little bit more sauce here, just to make sure that the spaghetti or the linguine, the pasta, and the pasta sauce is nice and saucy and everything melds together. Now it's time to serve. I'm just going to plate a plate here, and I love just adding the spaghetti in a spiral like this, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the sauce on the top. That looks so delicious now. And then if you want to, this is optional of course, you can also add a little bit of nutritional yeast just for a little bit of cheesiness, and voila, lunch is served. Does that not look good or what? All right, for the sweet potatoes, I did have to come back and add a little bit more water here, but it did look pretty good. So for dinner, we're just going to keep it simple. I just decided to saute some vegetables with some seasonings. I have some onions, bell peppers, zucchini, and some cabbage, and I am going to add some seasonings. I have paprika, onion powder, and a little bit of oregano, and I just served it up alongside with those sweet potatoes, and that was dinner for everybody. Now I didn't cook quite enough, so I decided to just have some of the spaghetti left over, and that was what I had for dinner. Thank you guys so much for watching. We truly hope this inspires you to cook more plant-based foods in your home, and feel free to subscribe. We would love to see you on the next video and welcome you to the community. We will see you on the next one. Take care guys. Bye.